Okay, so I'm going to update a little bit. Maybe clarify some. Okay, now today, Catholic guy came up and was like, "Hey, you can't stay here. You have to move." And I ran the idea by him. Like what with the universities. I was like, "Look, if you had to, if you were required by law, this is not about the church authorities or between the church authorities and the people going there at all. But if every tax-exempt spiritual organization, but especially and most particularly Catholics, was required by law to be a sanctuary against civil authorities, I'll say, like, for example, we have illegal immigrants. They can now stay at your church as much as they want. Or you have homeless people. They can stay at your church as much as you want. Now, that would also apply to interior spaces that are being rented for the purposes of churches. Like I said, I'm just saying making churches a commie zone. Now, you might say, why would you even suggest something so horrific and unfair? And the reason is because I'm seeing something that I never thought I would see. That the Catholic... Okay, I think when I found out that Louis Farrakhan, in addition to David Duke and the whole Brady bunch, were supporting Donald Trump, it was horrific, but it got me to thinking. Okay, so it's like these Catholic groups where the Pope, who's supposed to be, the spirit of the conscience that lives in us all, gets up there and says, any American Catholic, defy the government and take in refugees, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm sort of starting to see a connection between grievance industry crap, and that really is what it is, and, like the Catholics as a corporate entity, more so than anyway, like I said, and I think that's kind of also the tie that binds them to Jews, like George Soros, who, by the way, I'm not going to jump on some let's all call George Soros evil bandwagon. I'm not going to jump on any of these, let's all say Obama, blah, blah, blah. All I'm saying is that there seems to be, a lot of circle jerking behind the scenes that isn't good. Anyway, the whole tangent that I got off on there had to do with, like I said, this guy that came to wake me up this morning. I was really only sleeping by the building there because it was raining the past few days. But anyway, he said that somebody from the Archdiocese of Orange County came and, with a clipboard and was like, hey, you got to fix all this crap to satisfy the diocese thing. And, I think that, well, I don't know. Like I said, I think that there are things that are kind of wrong with the place in society the church occupies today as a corporate entity, but the thing is, we can't really forget the purpose of the church. Some asshole might say it's to worship this or that, to glorify God or Jesus or Mohammed or any of that, but that's not the purpose of the church at all. The purpose of the church is to meet with your neighbors. People set that crap up before they had government. In terms of, well, like I said, the church is all about community. It's about knowing the people who you live near. That's what the church is about. Now, if you want to kind of politicize it and corporatize it, that's fine. But to every Catholic, I just want you to know the social justice warriors, the grievance industry, the blah blah, etc. That's the fake one. That's the bullshit one. You're the real one. The Catholic Church, the neighborhood church, that's the real one. The Baptist Church, all of that stuff, that's the real stuff. But like I say, you can't just say we'll be part of the same corporation and one arm of them will be you and one arm of them will be the grievance industry. That just doesn't work. Your money should not be theirs and theirs should not be yours. And, it's like that's one of those knock it off kind of things for all of our souls and communities. But, like I said, that's just sort of what I'm thinking. In terms of, bringing things into balance, like I said, I think that the Catholic Church will be cut from the society that it doesn't, to the extent that it doesn't assume the role it is supposed to occupy. For example, the Catholic Church is the largest owner of land in Big Sur. Now, if every single one of these incoming immigrants were to be given a free house, a little 2-acre plot and a middle-class house, built with Catholic money on Catholic land that would then be transferred to that person, and we would just, chew out the Catholic Church till it's nothing in terms of land ownership doing that. You see, would they still be in favor of immigrants if that had to be done that way, if they weren't just going to sit up there like nobles above us? I don't think they would. I don't think you'd ever hear any Catholic official position being, and we must accept unlimited immigrants if they were going to be given your Catholic land specifically, to say, okay, we're going to cut this up and make it into houses that immigrants can own, or poor people downtown can own, that will be owned by someone else and not the Catholic Church. Now, if you would give away your land for that purpose, then, yeah, sure. If you want to move an immigrant there to say, okay, this isn't Catholic land anymore, now it's, this immigrant's land. If you want to do that for any immigrant that comes in, then I hear you. Advocate away. If you don't want to do that, you're an asshole and you're trying to give away other people's stuff and not your own. And it isn't even as if you don't have a lot. And that's, to the Catholic Church. But it really is more conversing than trying to settle out some kind of actual belief in what a policy should be, just trying to kind of establish the policy direction under the hood. Now, speaking of which, I think that that's like, as far as Secretary of State, that would be like the perfect thing about Mitt Romney. It's like, I think he kind of understands things about like the Catholic Church, community organizations, the organizations of the common man overseas, and the kind of crap they try to pull. Believe me, his upbringing and Mormon heritage, they really kind of, well, like I said, they do kind of dwell on that, and Mormons found the Fortune 500 company. Anyway, I think that as far as that goes, I think his religious talk is make him more appropriate to represent, America's interests abroad. Now, Giuliani, I think he kind of understands the ways in which bureaucrats inhibit the progress of the common man, both wittingly and unwittingly. And both of those are just like such spectacular deal makers. Now, like I said, it's just a very tough decision. I don't see how you could lose either way. I think either way it would be fantastic, but I can see the approaches being completely different. And, well, back to the university thing. Like I said, I think that that's like one of those things where it's like, if a university is found to be propagating that crap, like social justice, grievance industries, rioting, coercing rioters as a business, that kind of thing, then like I said, I think the punishment should fit the crime. The government should declare that school a federal disaster relief refuge and just, bus people in until they're, buried in a 300,000 person tent city and then say, okay, what about those refugees? I, like I said, I think they would quit trying to solve poor people's problems and start, kicking poor people ass if that happened. Frankly, that's what I think would happen. And that's just, well, like I said, I'm just talking, but I'm really trying to sort out what is the wise way to go forward. What could be a policy that doesn't encourage people to lie to themselves about the shitheads they are in their search of authority for its own sake, wealth for its own sake, and things like that. Like I said, if that's what you're into, then, build a better mousetrap. Geez. Anyway, but like I said, I'm just getting too semantic and having trouble describing what I'm saying. Uh, well, like I said, I guess I'll leave it at that. In terms of, who I would pick for Secretary of State, I don't know. Like I said, I guess Romney is kind of the clear choice. But, I don't want to opposite city that either. I guess, well, like I said, I don't know. No, I guess I'm going to go with Giuliani. Like I said, I think he will have a better luck connecting with the common man. Furthermore, that's the one other thing I wanted to mention. Nobody ever calls him the Don anymore. Now it's the Donald. Nah, man, he's a mob guy, and he should have like a mob guy, Rudy Giuliani, to help him out with these clowns overseas or something, right? I mean, I just can't help myself. Anyway, I'll over and out.